All right, this commentary is entitled Fat Joe Needs to Squash His Beefs. Now, lately, I've been seeing a whole bunch of Fat Joe related videos on my timeline, not counting the Whack 100 and Fat Joe video. But other videos I've been seeing, of course, the Liza Rios, who was the widow of Big Pun. She's been doing a lot of interviews. Seen some of her old ones and some current ones. And she was recently granted Big Pun's catalog in a court case. I've also been seeing several of Cuban Link's videos on Panda Chop. And what other videos have I been seeing? I've been seeing Charlie Rock LD, been seeing Gilly, and some other affiliates of the Terror Squad. And it's quite the same theme. Most of them had gripes against Fat Joe for whatever reason. And from the sound of it, it sounds like very legit gripes. And, particularly Cuban Link. Cuban Link has been the one that's been the most affected by Fat Joe because it pretty much cost him his career. I mean, currently Cuban Link is blackballed. His debut album back in the early 2000s was shelved because portions of it were linked via bootleggers. So he has the biggest axe to grind when it comes to Fat Joe. So my thing is this. I really don't know what the whole intricate details of these conflicts are. But what I do know is that, Fat Joe, he can make it right with 50 Cent. And granted, their beef was squashed at Chris Lighty's funeral. And it's interesting that he can make it right with 50 Cent, but he can't make it right with the people that he may have, offended in his own camp. So what's the deal here, Fat Joe? My thing is this. Fat Joe is an adult. The other parties are adults. And I think it's time for them to really sit down face to face. It could be on camera or off camera and resolve these issues. Because it makes no sense for somebody in Fat Joe's age group. I think Fat Joe is in his late 40s or early 50s. I think he's in his early 50s. Yeah, it makes no sense for Fat Joe to carry this luggage around and act all political when it comes to all these interviews, or either duck or dodge the question or not answer any of this at all. I'm not sure who's in Fat Joe's ear right now. But what I do know is that he really needs to sit down with Charlie Rock LD, Cuban Links, Gilly, and all the other, and Liza Rios, and all the other people, and just squash these beefs. Because I think the time is right for closure. I think the time is right for resolution. But things really need to be solved quickly, efficiently, and immediately. And I understand Fat Joe doesn't want to lose face. In his mind, it's about pride. It's about, I don't want to admit that I was wrong here, but sometimes it takes a big man to admit his mistakes and take responsibility and be accountable for it. So the time is right for y'all to sit down, hash these issues out, and make amends. Let me come back with a PS on that ass. Yeah, it's also interesting that Fat Joe, I mean, I remember when before Remy Ma came out of prison, her and Fat Joe squashed their beef. Yet he can't squash his beef with Cuban Link. He can't really call Cuban Link on the phone or holler at him on Instagram and say, yo, Cuban Link, yo, why don't we meet up over here at this diner? Or why don't we meet up at this coffee shop and talk this out? It's interesting who he chooses to resolve things with and who he chooses not to resolve things with. So I want to make a quick note of that. This is Iron Will Media.